Hey guys, welcome back to the Engineered Muscle Podcast. We are back with episode 12 today for you. We are joined again by the lovely Brianna Sanchez, and this time we are coming to you live. We will simulcasting this to Facebook as we recorded, and hopefully we'll have some Q&As to you at the end. Today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about business, the business of coaching, some of the psychology, and also just marketing and some topics like that. Maybe we'll talk about some fitness as well.
All right, Bree. So I'm gonna get started with a really tough question for you.
Oh gosh.
So I'm a personal trainer trying to make it in the online fitness coaching world, and I want to make $50,000 in the next 90 days. How do I do it?
Wow. Well, you're definitely setting the bar high, but that's okay. It's good to set the bar high, so I
was going for $1 million, but yeah.
I want to take it down a notch.
Yeah.
I hear you. So let's see. Well, if that's your goal, I would definitely tell you to get into the online space first. Because are you in the online space yet? Are you posting any of your current personal training stuff?
No, I think that doesn't work. So I stopped posting it.
Okay. So it definitely doesn't work. I guess my first piece of advice would be to be consistent with your posting and being consistent with letting people know about you, because I think the biggest thing is people will post, especially when they're trying to start like an online business, they will just post about their services over and over and over and over. I don't care about your services unless I care about you. And until I get to know you and who you are, what you have to offer, that you're not just going to fuck me over or steal my money, and until I actually know about you and what you've been able to do, then I don't really care about your services. So I would first start with being consistent and just letting people know about you and showing up as who you are and letting people find their way to you. Because if you're just showing up consistently online, people will watch you and they'll start to build a sort of relationship with you, and then they'll be interested in your services. That would probably be my first step.
No, I think that was powerful. And I'll just add one thing to that, Bree. That was a hard question, just walking you into it. And
I liked it.
It was the only one that came to mind because it's the one that no one ever asks, but everybody wants, you know? It's the president we all want but don't deserve. So it was just, and what you said was like spot on, that you see a lot of trainers talk about their services over and over and over again. And in my experience, I've seen the opposite too, where I see trainers never make offers. Like they just never put out their programs. They're always like, I love some of them and I love seeing their content, but I'm like, what the fuck am I like, what can I do with this person? Like if you ever follow Grant Cardone or you follow any of these OGs, dude, they don't go 5 minutes without telling you what they actually do and their services. Like those people have a lot of conviction in what they sell, and it's like I think some people don't do it at all and others do it too much, and not, like back to that balance thing again, right? Like your audience have to like you, or they have to be able to relate to you before they ever invest in you. And especially like in this whole fitness coaching world, like, and me and you were just talking about it, like too many fitness coaches are running around playing entrepreneur and not actually building a business. And that blows my brains away. And lately, like I've been meeting a lot of beginner personal trainers who are just getting into it, or who've been in the fitness industry for a minute but don't know how to, like they're just starting in the online world. Dude, too many people treat their business like a hobby. They don't treat it like they're the motherfucking CEO. They don't say that. They don't even believe it. And all of us here, we've had jobs other than, our fitness business. We know when the CEO of a company walks in through the door, it's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And no one really fucks around at that point. No one is talking about, oh, we should just drop money on that because it feels good. It's very numbers driven. It's like, what's the sales? What's the income? What are the expenses? Okay, we're playing with the profit here. Okay, now this is the profit. That's the money we got to play with. So when you look at it like this, you don't go to an event and get sold on a $10,000 mastermind just because it fucking feels good. You think of your business as a business, right? And it just fascinates me. Like I talk a lot of people, I don't say I talk a lot of people out of it because I'll have 10 people messaging me about it later if they hear it. But I spend a lot of my time getting people to see their shit, to see their reality, where their business is at. I come from corporate America. We deal with numbers. I come from engineering. We deal with numbers. And I shit you not, 99% of business problems end up being related to numbers. And I say like 95% of your personal problems are numbers, literally. You fix the numbers, you'll be good. So it's a big distinction. And if you're a beginner personal trainer, or even if you're like 2 years into it and something doesn't feel right, it's because you're treating your business like a hobby, bro, or a girl. Like it's like a hobby to you. And you think like, and you know, when you treat your business like a CEO, you're really hard to sell on shitty things. Your decision-making process becomes a lot better because now you know your fucking numbers upside down. Like you talk to a lot of personal trainers and they're like, I'm like, okay, what kind of money are you making? And they'll give me like, you know, 10K. And I'm like, that's not a specific enough number. Because as a CEO, you should know it's $9,950 this month. Like, you know the exact numbers, and those numbers help you make better decisions versus you thinking that business is not working and you are just like coach hopping from one coach to the next, or you're just buying like luxury shit. Do you know how many marketers, not as much as fitness coaches, but a lot of my marketing friends fucking like rent Lamborghinis for a day and they do photo shoots? And I'm like, okay. Sounds about right. Like you're out there playing entrepreneur versus there are people out there building real businesses. And I don't know, I could talk about this for days, but like, please share your thoughts with it because this shit fucking, I love it.
I know, me too. That's something me and you can talk about forever. Like, I think something that what we were talking about earlier that people don't get is when they see things online and then they see people being like an entrepreneur and stuff, and like it looks so great, it looks so fun, it looks so awesome. That person never has to go to like a job, they don't have a set schedule, like they can do what they want. Yeah, but they don't see that like there's times when you're first starting out as an entrepreneur, well, you may have to choose between keeping on your lights and paying for something that could further your brand. I don't think people ever think that part through. And that's the part I've seen of entrepreneurship, which I see like almost like the dark side that Instagram doesn't show. And I think it's so important because it's like been a part of my journey and I love it because I've been through like the nitty gritty. And like I've been through like the depths, like the worst of the worst, and still want to do it. Like, why would you? I had to sit there and be like, why do I want to do something that's so hard and so difficult and so stressful? Why do I want to do this? And I feel like that's all that's all I need to know is that something is so terrible and it can be so difficult, but I still want to do it. And that's how I know I'm really passionate about it. And that is just basically
So I made, for full transparency, I made $0 in fitness my first 8 months. 8 months, $0. Yeah. And what's crazy is that never for a fucking second did I think about quitting. It never even occurred to me. Every day I was showing up. Every day, like after work, so I had my 9 to 5. From 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I worked. From 4:30 to 10:30 at night, I'm at Starbucks. That's why our video sponsor is Starbucks. But like, I was building my business and I was doing all the work. And if you think about quitting, it means you just don't want it bad enough. Let's be honest. And versus people who want it. Totally okay. It's not for you. Like you might be really good at other things. Like fitness is hot right now, but it's not for everybody. Madison, you went to school for engineering, and what I really wanted to hear from you is sometimes I feel like I'm just like a confirmation bias on my own self, but bro, I think too many people run away from numbers. Too many people avoid the mathematical questions. Too many people, like even in weight loss, people are like, I want abs. I'm like, okay, what's the body weight? What's the body fat percentage? How tall are you? And how where do we want to go? Those numbers paint a picture in my head that is very objective. It's not based on, oh, like this person like is this or that. Like it's very clear cut. And based on that, you can include the subjective things and make it work. Same thing in business. You can tell me all fucking day that it's your limiting beliefs that are holding you back from making money. You can tell me that all day, but I'll be like, how many sales calls have you been on? Oh, 2 in the last month. How many leads are you generating? Oh, like 2 or 3. And like, you show me the numbers and I'll tell you what's wrong. Like, it's almost like, it's weird. Like, I genuinely believe numbers give you such a, like, if you know your numbers, you are destined to improve.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. Like all big businesses have an entire department for doing that stuff, for analyzing the data and the numbers of the business, what's going in, what's going out, where they're spending what's having, even within a department, what's having success, what's not having success. And the thing is, the numbers don't lie, right? I mean, usually don't lie. It's a much more concrete thing, and it can tell you stuff, and more so than just being the number, but just knowing where you are in an accurate sense is so valuable, because how are you going to progress, or how are you going to fix what's wrong if you don't know it? Right? In order to make something better, you first have to recognize what's there needs to be that's better. Right? If you don't know what the problem is, you can't fix it.
Yeah.
If you have a leaky pipe and you just keep putting tape around it, well, the hole was somewhere else or whatever. So there's a different problem going on. It's never going to get fixed because you didn't figure out what the problem was. And numbers and that the analysis of that is a very good tool to figure out what the problem is.
Same in fitness and same in business. Like,
yeah,
if you know your numbers, I personally, I don't know if it's just me, Bree, and like you can probably relate to it more than Madison, but like I live in LA, so I spend a lot of time with people talking about mindset, and I love that. I love that whole, that whole conversation. But whenever I meet personal trainers getting started, they think it's all mindset, and I'm like, nah. Like it's just never just the mindset. Like, even if you get your mindset right and your skills in sales aren't developed or your skills in marketing aren't developed, you're still fucked. So mindset goes back to plain zero. See, the thing about confidence, guys, and you guys are all trying to read like fucking, John Maxwell's books on confidence. Confidence doesn't come from reading books. Confidence comes from skill development. You got the skill, you'll be confident. Simple. Like, and I go through this every day. Like, do you think when the best trainers in the world who've trained like Hollywood celebrities and people like Arnold, do you think they walk into to give a speech on fitness? Do you think they're fucking nervous? No, they've done the work. Like, skill, as your skills develop and you continue to develop it, your confidence will rise. It has no other choice. And it's kind of like, I remember being in a psychology class in college, and I remember asking my professor, like, Professor, I get scared when I talk in front of older people, but when, like, if you put me in front of like middle school kids, I can talk all day, no nervousness. And she's like, you know why? I was like, why? She's like, their skill development is less compared to yours. Versus older people, they have more years on the job. And now I had a very similar experience, but the opposite. 2 weeks ago, I presented in front of the board of a really big hospital chain in the East Coast. Like a big fucking deal for a 24-year-old. I was the youngest person in the room. And I was driving there, and I kept asking myself, I was like, Mo, are you nervous? I was not nervous. I wasn't nervous. And the reason wasn't that I've been reading all these fucking books. The reason was I've been working in healthcare for 8 years. 8 years. You put that experience, and now you're a dangerous animal. So same thing with fitness. Like, and then I'll give it back to Bree. But like, someone asked me that the other day, a very beginner personal trainer, amazing person, fucking love her. Asked me, she's like, how do you build authority in fitness? And I'm like, have you transformed your own body? Have you transformed one other person's body? Yes or no? She's like, yeah. I was like, there you go. How can you build it? Like, I shit you not. My first 2 clients were free, $0. And they were my biggest transformations. And sometimes you got to put in the time to learn. And there's some people are looking for the shortcuts. And I just generally don't think there are shortcuts. You got to earn your stripes.
There's not. And I started off like my business like career with the WCA, how we met. So I had this like huge investment up front of $5,000 and quit my job because I'm being told I'm gonna make money in a month. I'm gonna make like all this money back plus more. Like I'm all set to go. So
just because you joined that program. Just because you joined that program. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm super ambitious. I like know I'm gonna like I can do this, like I can kill this, like I'm committed and all this stuff. I'm getting on sales calls every day and I'm not making shit for 3 months. I think I sold 1 client. But like I'm not making any money and I'm still like trying to survive and live, and like it just was so fucked. Because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like what am I doing wrong? I'm trying to do all of this. I'm doing everything you say, and I'm not getting the results. How come? Like, what more do I have to do? And I keep getting told with my mindset, my limiting beliefs, it's my mindset. I'm working through. I'm crying. I'm like, why is my mindset so terrible? And you know what? I think you're so right, because I just had to like, I feel like I had to go through that to like show myself how much I really wanted it. And 2, that I had to get the experience, because it was like almost setting myself up for failure by having those unrealistic expectations right up front and not having any experience. Because I'm not gonna confidently charge someone $1,500 when I have no experience. I'm 20 years old and I'm talking to 30-year-olds on the phone because they see my posts, they love me, they want to work with me, and I'm telling them I'm charging you $1,500 and I have absolutely no experience. I'm not telling them I have no experience. I'm just saying that's an example. So that was it. I don't believe that was my mindset that was wrong. I think it was that I didn't have the experience that I have now, where now I can confidently charge what I want. Some more experience.
And like when you were like struggling and you're like nothing is working, were you ever thinking about hiring another coach?
No, I didn't think it was I'm the type of person, I didn't think it was the coach. I thought it was me. I will always blame myself before I blame someone else. So I'm thinking it's me and I'm the problem. So I didn't know.
You are like a minority, a very small minority. And majority of the time, people go from one coach to another, and the same shit happens with fitness. Like people jump from coach to another because they want results so fast. Versus if you stuck with one, you might win Mr. Olympia. Like you might turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, because like, even guys like Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor still has the same boxing coach he used to have 9 years ago in Europe when he was complete amateur. And
love that.
What do you say, Madison?
They get to know each other, and like for a lot of those athletes and stuff, right? I mean, sometimes it does take a little jumping around to find which coach is right. But when you find the right person, you got to stick with them, because the coach also needs to learn you as you learn you and as you develop, and it's going to change. So if you just jump to a new coach, they're not going to know all that about you that your old coach did. And you can't, that coach has grown with you, right? That coach has developed his skills based off of you partially, because, and they're in a way a reflection of their athlete, and the athlete's a reflection of that coach. Because they end up growing together. Like another example is like Neil Hill and Flex Lewis, who's the 7-time 212 Mr. Olympia. Like they came like Flex became in each other. They're friends as well. They're super close. Like he knows their kids. You know, like they know each other's kids, and like they're like family practically. Like he brought Flex up, and like now he's huge, he's well known, but he's also really well known that, and Flex has been with no one else and is still with him even after
Flex Lewis won how many Olympias?
7 212s, and 7 212s, and he just retired from the 212 division this year. He's going into open.
So 212, is that like the highest Mr. Olympia? No, right?
No, 212 is their weight, is a weight requirement. They have to be 212 pounds or less. And the regular
guys are in 240s, aren't they? 230s, 240s?
Not in the 212. That's in the regular.
Yeah, the regular, the like the Flextron, like Sean Roden and Dexter Jackson.
Right, that's the men's open, and then the 212, like 212 is a really cool class, because the thing about 212 is they always come in like it's a really tough group, because everybody just comes in insane condition.
Love it.
Because everyone's not just playing the size game like they sometimes do in the open. But again, back to the point, same thing with Phil. When he came up, he's been with Honey the whole time. Right? They were able to have a rapport with each other. They know each other. They know how they react to stuff. And same thing with business. If you have a good coach, I mean, business is a little bit different, because eventually you kind of have to fly your own wings and really kind of experience things for yourself. But when you stick with one person, they're able to understand you. And a good coach will try to seek out what you're doing wrong and help you fix what you can't see, and help you get on track with what you need to be doing, which I think three of us kind of felt was lacking in our mutual coaching experience through that provider. They weren't always looking to see where we were actually failing with the numbers, with the actual with the actual work, with the actual content, right? What we were actually doing, and anytime we would not reach the level that we were told we would reach, we were told that it was a fault with our mindset. It was a fault with how we were thinking, and that we didn't think that we deserved it. I'm like, no, I fucking deserve this. I'm a fucking great coach. But that wasn't my problem. I wasn't seeing success because I didn't have enough presence online. I wasn't able to promote myself enough. I wasn't putting myself out there and selling well enough. And so
I totally agree. And I think what's fascinating is that fitness and business they go hand in hand, because they're both long-term things. You don't just start popping dollar bills on day one. And that's the thing. Like, people think
success is 10 years in the making, right?
Exactly. And it's just, you don't even have to think of the 10 years. Think of 10 days. Think of just play small. And I'm all about setting big goals and having big dreams. Like yesterday, I shit you not. I hope that person is not watching this live. Yesterday, I asked someone, I was like, they asked me first, they're like, what are your projected income revenue? Like, how much money are you trying to make this year? Gave them the number. And I was like, what about you? He gave me, he's like, simple, $1 billion. I was like, $1 billion, great. I was like, how much have you already made? 1,500. I was like, got it. No, but like, you see the point. Like, I love setting big dreams, but there's something about the fact that if you set smaller goals, you'll end up fucking winning. Because then you hit those smaller goals, your confidence goes up, your skill goes up, you set bigger goal, confidence goes up. Versus like, if your goal is right here and your fucking like reality is right here, and then you make this jump and then you fucking fall back even down. Then this, then that. We're like, guys, like, consistent goals and consistent raising the bar helps way more. It's kind of like weight loss. You set a goal to like, lose 50 pounds in 90 days. Like, that's a fucked up goal. Versus setting the goal like, I'm going to lose, 20 pounds or 25 pounds in the next 90 days. Now we're talking. Now we know we can do that. Because there's something about being really optimistic, and there's something about knowing how confidence works, how skills work, how mental energy works. You set goals too big, you're shooting yourself in the head sometimes. Because
it goes back to setting SMART goals, right? And SMART being the acronym of specific, measurable, what's the A? R being realistic, right? And then T being attainable, right? It has to be attainable. It has to actually be something you can do, and it has to be realistic. and then T is time bound. So you have to actually say, well, it's not going to happen it's going to happen someday versus no, it's going to happen in 3 months, right? So it needs to be, when you're setting goals, they need to be able to have those parameters, or else they aren't very useful. It's great to have like, oh, this is my lifelong goal, but it's just kind of floating out there, and what actions are you taking to move towards it? Versus when you have a bunch of smaller SMART goals, you can actually be like, well, how are my actions working towards this goal? What is the actual, what steps am I taking?
I think that a lot of people do things backwards, and they don't focus on the number one thing in business, which is sales. Mo, I know you'll love this. Grant Cardone taught us well, but like
Uncle G taught us well.
He did. Like, for example, I have a friend who she was starting her own clothing line.
Let's call her Karen.
She was starting her own lingerie line, and like I was with her throughout the whole process because she knew I had already started my own business and made some money. So she kind of was like, I was kind of just giving her a couple tips here and there. So she was focused on everything. She was focused on like, oh, I have to go and get a business license. She went downtown and paid like a bunch of money to get her business like license or whatever. She did all this stuff for it, like to legitimize it first, and spent all this money up front. Then she was doing like a bunch of other stuff. Like I think she ordered like all the actual like samples or something like that, and she was planning all the photo shoots and doing all this stuff. I'm like, wait, are you building your Instagram? No, not yet. Like, you should be doing that first. You should be building up the Instagram with what you're doing, and you should be focused. I'm like, are you focusing on like how you're gonna like sell this? Are you gonna like how are you gonna make money off of this? That wasn't even a concern yet. So it was really surprising to me because it was like the sales and like the branding wasn't a priority as much as like everything like on the back end. And I felt like it should have been, I felt like it would have been more beneficial to her to do things kind of like switch things around. Like had I been advising her, I would have like advised her differently, but a lot of people don't want to hear
the other day I was talking to a 17-year-old who was at a conference, and he was contemplating whether he should invest in a mastermind because the people that he was around made it sound like success comes from masterminds. I started talking, normal flow in the middle of this table of everyone who's in a mastermind. And I'm like, bro, how old are you? He goes, 17. I was like, what do you want? He goes, want to make money. I was like, who's the most successful person in your surroundings? He goes, I know this guy. He owns a bunch of real estate properties, and he's a millionaire in our town. I was like, okay. I was like, who else do you know? He goes, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett. I was like, great. I was like, before starting Facebook at the age of 17, how many masterminds was Mark Zuckerberg part of? And everybody fucking looked at me because they're all in them, and I'm out here talking shit. And I was like, who are the people you really genuinely look up to? He goes, all the greats, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Nelson Mandela, all the greats of history. I was like, do you think they needed to be in a mastermind to be successful? Were they in a mastermind? Do you think Nelson Mandela had access to a mastermind in South Africa? And he goes, I was like, bro, I'm just going to leave it at that because we're running out of time. So let's just finish up eating and then we can catch up some other time. And he literally looks at me and he goes, no, please keep talking. Please keep talking. He's like, you are like the most real person I've met out of 1,000 people that were there that weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to brag, but guys, a lot of you watching this or a lot of you starting, you don't know your numbers. And second, you're just doing what others tell you to do. And the problem with that approach is there's a part of you on the inside, and that's like, and the same thing goes for diets. All my friends who are doing keto, vegan, carnivore, they want to talk to me in person because there's a part of them that genuinely feels there's truth out there. There's truth out there that this circle is missing. And that truth for those people is that, yeah, you can enjoy a normal life and you can still build muscle and you can live your lifestyle while traveling, right? And the same goes for people starting businesses. Business, like, you ever met like a business person that you're like, I want to be that? Like, there's something about that person, like, fuck, like, that's just cool. And like, I know people whose businesses are making like barely making 5,000 months, and they were trying to be in Andy Frisella's mastermind for $100,000, or they were trying to be in Lewis House's mastermind for like a lot of money. And I'm all about positivity, guys. I'm not talking shit about those guys. I love them. Problem is, you're only gonna be lost. Imagine you're making $5,000 and you're around people making millions of dollars. Your imposter syndrome will kick in and you'll feel like shit. And second, you'll go home feeling more overwhelmed than when you started. Because now you're like, see, the advice to making some money is different from the advice to making a lot of money. So like, if you're right now, the best advice on this was given to me by Preston Smiles. Do you guys know Preston Smiles?
I feel like I've heard that name, but I can't
He
think
lives
of
in
it.
LA. He's like an amazing life coach. And he told me, he's like, get to the land. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, get to the land. You're still in water. And when people say that, he gave me that advice like a year and a half ago. What he meant by that is like, too many people are quitting their jobs. Too many people are like they're still in the water and they think like they can just start flying. Get to the fucking land first. Like I like right now, a complete beginner comes to me and they're like, Mo, I want to be Mr. Olympia. I'll be like, great. Okay, that's a good start. But I've never been Mr. Olympia. I've never trained with those guys, so I can't take you there. But what I can do is accelerate that process in the beginning, because he cannot just go to the coach that trains Mr. Olympia and make him his coach, because that coach is he's used to dealing with the people with 10 years of training experience. He's not used to begin. A lot of the time I am. So it's like, you got to find your fit, and same goes for business. Like, if it genuinely does not feel good to you, does not feel right to you, I said don't do it.
Yeah, and I think much like fitness, everybody in business is going to have their own lane and their own way. So after a while, once I realized that that idea and that strategy wasn't going to work for me, I had to make my own strategy, and I just kept going. And I decided that I was just going to get people to care about what I was saying and just focus on what I could. So I can't make the $1,500 sale. It's not working for me. So I'm just going to focus on building my online brand and presence and putting myself out there and letting people get to know me and trust me. And I just focus on that, and then just made my own lane. And people started to want to work with me because it was more authentic, because I felt more comfortable. And I was able to, like I said, make my own lane and do my own thing. And that made me happy that I was doing it my own way. And like we're saying, just like fitness, just because someone tells you that it's this way doesn't mean that it has to be this way. You can make your own lane. You can do your own thing. You can charge the prices you feel happy with, and work the way you want to. So it fits you and feels more natural.
Again, it goes back to knowing your numbers. It goes back to being a CEO. Like, you are a CEO. Like, what else do you want me to tell you? You are the chief executive officer. No one, you can't blame anyone else anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to say that you touched on a really good point, and I think something a lot of beginners struggle with, and this is something I'm still struggling with. And both of you are actually have done a really great job with this, and that's being able to kind of separate your brand and also finding your voice online and being able to portray yourself in a real and honest to yourself way in the online space, and be able to make those genuine connections by putting yourself out there in a way, and also separating yourself by virtue of doing that. So I'm going to ask both of you kind of what tips you would give to people to find their voice online, and how to make themselves stand out and be genuine to themselves and try to find their voice.
You want to go first, Mo?
No, go for it.
Okay. So I would say definitely just being yourself. That's really important, just to show up as yourself. And that could be, go ahead.
If they struggle with that.
If they struggle with being themselves online.
Yeah, well, on video or online, yeah. Presenting themselves as themselves and being able to show their personality. Yeah.
I guess I would just ask them if they're sure that they really want to be in the online space, because a lot of the online space is being on video, is presenting, is talking to people, and like showing up like confident in yourself. So I would ask them if they're really sure that they want to be in the online space, because you're gonna have to do things you might not feel comfortable doing at first, but you just got to be able to do it anyway. So that would definitely be an issue. But the second thing I would say is that as long as you keep doing something, you're going to get better at it. And so just because you're not comfortable being on video at first doesn't mean that if you keep doing it, you won't get better. So it definitely takes quick practice. And we were talking about earlier, Mo, experience. And if you keep making videos, like maybe my first video, I wasn't confident. I was scared as fuck. I was nervous. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I look so stupid. What am I going to say? But I just pushed past it. And then once you do 70 videos, then you feel confident. You're not nervous. I'm not nervous on video anymore. I'm confident and can say what I want better, say things clearer. Better right there. But so I would just ask that person if they're really sure they want to be in the online space, because they are going to have to do video. Because if they don't want to do video, they don't want to do business.
And a lot of people don't understand, but there's a lot of money offline too. A lot of money. And if you're not comfortable posting every day, like, another topic that triggers me at times. But if you're not good at video, if you don't like the online space, what's stopping you from mailing people in your apartment building like a little like, hey, I train people, or dropping flyers at your local office, or going to Starbucks and letting them put your business card on the wall? Like, guys, guerrilla marketing still works. It works like a fucking charm. Like, you have no idea how many Uber drivers I've given my business card to, and I've sold them on my smaller packages. Like, there's something to it. Like you can. I know plenty of millionaires who have like 2 friends on Facebook and 0 followers on Instagram. Plenty. Mm-hmm. And all these fucking influencers with a lot of followers, a lot of the time they're not making much money compared to the guys who are completely offline. Like, do not discount offline. Like, you can totally sell your services while grocery shopping and meeting people at the bar. Like, if that's what you vibe with, then that's what you do. Yeah. Like, you put yourself out there, you go out. Like, I genuinely feel, I haven't tested it, so I won't like prescribe it, but I genuinely feel it's easier to build a business with guerrilla marketing at times than it is for a lot of this like organic content. I'm not talking about paid advertising. I'm talking about organic. Organic is much slower than walking up to Susan at Starbucks and Charles at the bar and telling them, hey man, I just moved to LA. I'm a personal trainer and I work online. So I work with a lot of busy people just like yourself. If you're looking to lose some weight for the New Year's, here's my business card. Call me tomorrow. We'll get you rolling and we'll get you results. Like, isn't that way more authentic than making a post talking about why reverse dieting isn't working for you?
Yeah, actually connecting.
I think you have a better chance of selling.
It's funny you mentioned it, because I come to think of it, I think 90% of my success has been that way. It's been kind of direct, and not via online in that way.
The online space isn't going to be for everyone, and it doesn't have to be. Like you just said, there's money offline. And when I was 16, I was working for like a mom and pop laundromat, and I'm pretty sure they're millionaires, the husband and wife. And I got to just like study them and work with them, and they knew nothing about the online space. They did nothing within online. It's all laundromats and rental properties. And I got to learn from them and see everything they did. And it was like such a great learning experience for me. So then when I started my online business, I'm like, you guys aren't marketing on social media. You guys aren't doing marketing to the college kids in our town on social media, and I see this whole other area where they could be making more money, and I'm like so excited by the online space because that's what I like. But they built it all this like way offline, and it was so great, and I learned so much from them. And I feel like that's really important too, because you should actually learn from, like, I felt like that was the best experience I could have got. Like, yeah, the business course was great, but I almost got like free business coaching from them for like 5 years, just working for them, just working for mom and pop who built themselves up and who own multiple laundromats and rental properties and stuff like that. So there's definitely other ways besides the online space, I think.
Definitely. And I think, like, whenever you come across a new opportunity, think about what is easy and what is hard. For a lot of these online is sexy. So, dude, you guys are going to love this. So, posting online twice a day is much easier than going up to strangers at a bar and pitching them.
Yeah.
It is just as easy. It's kind of the same thing as Madison and I were talking about. Counting calories is easier. It works for a lot of people. But is it generating the most amount of results?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question that you should ask yourself. Like, a lot of you fitness trainers, a lot of you entrepreneurs, even myself, posting online is fucking walk in the park. You're always like, you stick to your schedule and you fucking post on Instagram twice a day, and Gary Vee says start posting 7 times a day, and you're just gonna hustle your way through it.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, when you go to a conference and you come across that person that you're like, he can really benefit from my services, you have no balls to talk to that person. You have no balls to pitch that person or tell them that, hey, I have this offer that, I'm willing to give you a discount too because I like you, and let's start working together. A lot of people cannot do that, and that's the biggest reason why you see 96% of businesses fail. Like, all of these things are great, but some things are too easy. When they're too easy, that means a lot of people are doing it. But what's hard is the old school way, the caveman methods of talking to real people. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're going to lose. And I'm not even saying this because I know there's a lot of counter arguments to even this. Like, people come back and say, Mo, like, Facebook ads are a fucking game changer. I'm not even talking about Facebook ads, guys. Like, when you have the money to invest in Facebook ads, you're golden already. Like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the beginners who are posting a lot on social media just to get attention. And that shit wins. But at the end of the day, people don't buy from your brand. People buy from you. And if you don't have the confidence to, talk one-on-one with them or like sell them in person, like, how good can your business be in the long run?
I think too, like how we were talking about like coaching earlier and fitness coaching, how it's not just telling someone what to do. I think with like business too, it's like you have to be able to like connect with people and relate to people and stuff, and definitely like have like that confidence in yourself for that. I was going to say something else about business. And selling is like a really, really hard one for people. And that was huge for me because I had never sold before. So I felt like it was like so scary and intimidating. But then I had a sales job, and getting told no all the time and understanding that I had to not take it personally and just keep talking and keep building connections and keep asking people, because all it takes is one person to say yes for your confidence to like go up a little and for you to feel more confident in your abilities and stuff. So I think the sales job is like so important, especially if someone wants to have a business. I feel like they should have a sales job first, because it's literally, you have to learn.
Stop telling me to work harder. All I need is mindset work. I got this new book in the mail. I'm gonna manifest everything. I'm gonna manifest everything.
You have to learn how to be okay with someone saying no, and then you just not taking it personal. And that's like the most important thing I feel like you have to learn. You have to be resilient and not let it bother you, because like people are going to say no. It's not always about your mindset. It's not always about you didn't do a good job selling. Sometimes just people say no. And you have to just keep going and not take it personal and not convince yourself that you suck and all this stuff just because one person told you no. And it's all it takes. Like I said, all it takes is one person. So I feel like sales is what?
Life is a numbers game.
And that could be like a fun part, but a lot of people don't want to experience that rejection. And that was something I had to like overcome, was just people telling me no and be like, all right, well, there's always tomorrow.
Are you guys, I'm just curious, just like your personalities. When things are hard and something is like really challenging for you, what mode do you go in? Are you like, fuck this, I want to try something else? Or are you like, I'm going to figure this bitch out?
It depends, Madison, you can answer after, but it depends on how much I want it. Because if I don't really, like for college, for instance, I saw like the loops you had to go through college to graduate and some of the things you had to do and the money. And I had already been listening to all these entrepreneurs and knew that was like my path. So I knew college wasn't gonna benefit me personally as much as like it's promised and stuff. So I just thought that the amount of energy and work it took to finish college wasn't going to be worth it for me. So I think it depends, but like we were talking about entrepreneurship, I've been ran through the mud and still going. So I think it depends on how much I want it, or if I really want it, I just want to prove to myself if I can do it. And then I'm like, fuck yeah. Like that's what I live for, is showing myself I can do something, but it depends on how much I want it.
Yeah, I'd agree to a large extent. To me, it depends on what it is. If it's something I enjoy, if I generally enjoy and I'm passionate about, or if it's just another run-of-the-mill thing, much easier to give up on something that I don't like or don't care about as much. I guess care is really, really the word. Like, because when it comes to like a fitness problem, like not being able to do something, that just like excites me more about it. And it's just like a problem and a puzzle to figure out. And at that point, it's like a game of beating the problem. And then beating it is great, but like half the fun and half the skill and my learning is from overcoming it and figuring it out and problem solving it. And like I'll get a lot of those with work too. I have to just kind of like figure it out. But then like some things, like you don't necessarily care about it. Like you care about it, but you don't care about it enough. It just kind of like hits you in the gut and you're like, oh, fuck this, man. Right. And, it's probably better to have that positive for all things, but it can be tough when you don't care enough about it, or, it just doesn't click with you in that way for that.
No, I agree. And the reason I asked that question is I hate like people calling millennials soft, because generally people who call us soft are soft themselves. So I don't even bother. But my point is, like totally agree. Like there's some things that I'm like, it's not worth my time. Let's outsource it. Like I would say video editing. I even though I can do it myself, I just fuck it. I can build websites myself. Went to school for that, but nah, not worth my time. But at the same time, like you gotta go for it. Like sometimes you just can't quit. You just gotta keep learning and you gotta keep grinding at it, because you will get better. I shit you not. I spent 1 month going to the gym every day, coming home, watching videos on how to deadlift properly.
Yeah.
1 month of fucking practice every day. And it was so weird. I got into this mindset that I cannot be a bodybuilder if I don't know how to deadlift properly. Because before that, every time I deadlifted, I would hurt my lower back. Every time. And I went to the chiropractor. I went to fucking all over the place trying to figure out my lower back issue. And you know what really fixed it? It was after days and days, I started taking my shoes off. I was wearing these fucking Nikes. I took my shoes off, and for the first time, my hamstrings worked. Like, I had been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to master the movement, and I realized the hamstrings need to fucking work. So it's just like, my point being, this is not about deadlifting. Like, my point being is, to become a master, you got to put in the hours. And it is okay to feel like you're lost. It is okay to feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with squat. Like, I can't even say how many years it took for me to like get it. I remember when I finally went like, oh, like for so long it felt so awkward. I was like terrible at it, a million things. And now it's like one of my favorite lifts, and I'm good at it. But like, it must be at least probably 5 to 6 years of trying to squat, right? Right. So
5 to 6 years. So not 90 days.
Yeah.
No, not 90 days. That said, I have helped people get their squat really great and to that level in 90 days because since I've kind of figured it out now, I know how to figure it out for other people faster. But it took me a long time.
Look at you now.
Yeah. Do we have any questions from the live?
No, one person is really appreciative of the conversation we're having about entrepreneurship. Newton said, "This is an awesome conversation, man. Cracking open the entrepreneurship game right now. This is the stuff that no one tells you, but you want to hear. And
it's the behind the scenes, nitty gritty, dirty shit.
This is the stuff where you get, your hands dirty. This is the stuff that you get your hands dirty. And it's okay to be lost, but genuinely, like, I'm not a business coach. I don't know if I ever will be, but I feel like I'm going to piss off every business coach when I say this. But as someone who's actually done like professional sales deals and a lot of like big deals, I know that people who don't know their numbers are the easiest to sell.
Mm-hmm.
In the sales, they have this saying that people who are in MLMs are the easiest to sell. Because they're after the big dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yachts, beaches, private jets, vacations in Dubai, all that shit. Just keep feeding that dream. Keep feeding it. They'll just keep giving you the dollar bills. On the other side, once in a lifetime, you come across that dude who knows his numbers or that girl who fucking knows her numbers. Those are hardest to sell. And when you're hard to sell, it just means that, in a good way, like, it just means that you know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and a lot of the time, this is where it also gets tricky because a lot of people watching in fitness, they think they don't need help. You do need help. Some of you do need fucking help. And you got to be able to go there. Madison, whenever you say something, I cannot hear it.
A lot of you need help.
A lot of you need help. And especially in fitness, like if you've been just beating your head against the wall and like just fucking tried every diet on the book and bought every Grego Gallagher, Jillian Michaels, and Sean T's fucking program and nothing is working, you need a fucking coach. But on the other side, now I'm talking about business.
Mm-hmm.
In business, right now, especially in 2018, 2019, this whole mentorship thing took off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I genuinely believe if Mark Zuckerberg was in a mastermind, he wouldn't have probably built Facebook. He would have been probably too fucking stuck reading books right now on positivity and mindset.
My favorite.
Right. Well, you can say that it's like a thing about all trailblazers, right? Anybody that's reached something that no one else has, how can you say that anyone else would have kind of brought them there, right? They had a spearway, spearway had their way there themselves. Like the people that the first guy to lift 1,000 pounds. It's never been done. You can't teach it. 800-pound squatter is not going to teach them how to do it, right? When they invented Microsoft, when Bill Gates did that had been done. Who's going to show him? Oh yeah, this is how you build a tech company up. Right? It wasn't a thing yet. With Thomas Edison and he didn't invent but pioneering GE and just taking over all of the electricity of the day, like these people weren't going through these like.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, dude, you know what's cool? And this does not apply to fitness. It applies more to business. And that is, I think what will really, and this, I told this to a lot of people actually. I tell people to lock themselves in a room with a whiteboard and a marker and diagnose their own business. Be objective as fuck. Everybody who has a business listens to a lot of podcasts. They have a lot of information here. They are really good at giving advice to other people. they just suck at taking their own advice. And if you just sit down and you take a pen and a paper and you start writing, all right, how much money did I make last month? How much money? Don't say how much money I made. Say how much money did my business make last month? Because your business, the more you attach your business to you, the more it's going to fuck with you right here. Treat it like a real job. Like, I love the whole concept of working from home and shit. Problem is, most people are lazy. When they work from home, they just want to take naps all day. Like, there's something, that's why I go to Starbucks a lot. And there's something about, I built my whole business in a Starbucks, I would say. It was my office. Like, whenever I walked into Starbucks, it was like Mo Gaines Fitness. Like, this is training with the Titans. Like, I'm no longer anything else. This is the time to build that. And you got to have places where you can do that. So for a lot of people who are just completely lost, don't expect another many $1,000 investment to solve that for you. You just don't know your problems very well. So really write down leads, like your marketing, your sales, and your delivery. Those are the three things you need to worry about. So your marketing, how many people are you attracting daily? What is that number? You are the CEO now. Fucking know those numbers. The more you know, the better you'll get. Because as my boy, what was his name? A famous economist from 20th century who said, what can be measured gets improved. Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker said that. And so like really like look at your marketing, then look at your sales. What's your conversion rate? Are you attracting a lot of people you don't want to attract? Well, yeah, your marketing is off. It's literally marketing, sales, and delivery. And then when it comes to delivery, can you deliver? If you can deliver, then rinse and repeat. If you cannot deliver, fix that, because if you can't deliver, sooner or later, your referrals will fuck you up, because those people who are in your program will start talking shit about you, just like we do with a lot of people that we work with. And before you know it, you will and what's funny is that's a cycle, right? Marketing, sales, delivery. What happens is a lot of people, a lot of these 7-figure entrepreneurs, they spend too much money on marketing. They keep going back to marketing. And the more they pump into the ads, but what they don't know is their delivery is shitty. So then if there's once upon a time or once in a while, you come across a really smart buyer who actually reaches out to everyone who's in the delivery phase, an actual client, and the actual client is like, fuck, I didn't get anything out of this program.
I think we're starting to see that happen
with a lot of things.
Those bigger business Instagram entrepreneurs are starting to, I think we're starting to see that a little.
Yeah, the flashy people as their programs are.
Bro, I feel like I just literally mapped out what a business should be. And I love simplifying things. And it was like marketing, sales, delivery, boom, done. And I should build an entire business course on this. I don't want to, but I should.
Do it, Mo. Do it. I know. Like, I know what you mean. Sometimes I want to too, because I just want to tell people that. I just want to tell everybody who wants an online business that it's not all peaches and creams. That do not go into it the way I went into it, thinking that it's peaches and creams, because it's not. Because there's going to be times, like we said, where there's going to be rough times.
Strawberries and cream?
Yeah.
No, and what's funny is that I got into it thinking that six-pack abs were the thing. Six-pack abs were the one that gets you leads. But like, if your marketing, your sales, and your delivery is not on point, your business will not survive, period. You got to get those things dialed in. And the more you dial them in, the better you'll get, guys. And that's the best part. Like, no one can tell you those answers. Like, and just know the best part is whenever I run into these problems, I know all my role models ran into the same shit. Do you think Steve Jobs had it easy with building Apple computers? No, he struggled with the same shit. Bill Gates, like, businesses are the same thing, same problems. So once you start thinking of your business as a business and not like a fucking hobby, things change. They have to change. They have to change, because then now your logical brain is taking over. And trust me, it's when you're logical about things, you're more powerful.
So Mo, you're saying that we need to change our mindset.
I mean, yeah, part of it, like, I'm all about reading positive books. I'm all about like being positive, having visions, like getting clarity. But we all know people who go to, like, trust me, I stopped going to a lot of conferences. Like, sometimes I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going anymore. I'm just gonna, like, for those of you watching, this is really gonna help you. I have been, like, when I meet new people, and I like those people, if I get coffee with them and they're like entrepreneurs building their businesses, I don't ask them, hey bro, let's get coffee again and network for the sake of positivity. I'm like, what are you doing next Wednesday? Because we should do a work day together where we book an Airbnb, and all we do that day is we show up there, we have food, we have the whole thing, and we have one thing to accomplish, whether it's building a course, whether it's just one big project you've been putting up, and we just do that the whole day, period.
Okay.
And I'm actually starting to do that, and it works like a magic. So for a lot of you who are just, in the beginner and just don't know, like you just feel lost, you need more of those days than you need of just fucking out there networking. Like you got to prove to yourself your product is worth it. Like I can get on a phone call and sell my product because I have that much conviction. I've worked it. I've built it myself. I've tried it. People have gotten results over and over again. And you just can't fake that. Why would you want to fake that? That's just real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking a lot, Bree. Please continue. This is by you.
I don't know. I don't know where to start. We've said so much.
Madison, send us a question.
Yeah, send us a question.
Oh, we covered so much.
If you're completely lost, what should you do?
How do you keep yourself creative to keep creating content regularly, and how do you try to have that content reflect you, your brand, and also target the people that you're trying to target?
Go for it.
Ask that a little differently.
So
how do I stay creative?
Yeah, how do you manage to keep creating effective content, and how do you make effective content to begin with, being something that's going to speak to the people that you're trying to attract? And what do you do to be able to deliver that regularly, frequently?
You want me to answer it, or you got it? Go for it.
Yeah, the question's a little confusing. I like more simple questions, but basically how I keep creating is I just keep changing, and I keep trying new things and doing what feels good to me, and always making sure that, just like with fitness, always make sure that I enjoy what I'm doing. And I know when you have your own business, you're not going to always enjoy everything. For a while I hated sales, and I still had to do it. So how I create content is I just basically create what I like and what I think that my audience would really benefit from. Because Mo, I like to talk a lot about like emotional stuff and emotional eating. So even though like I create fitness stuff, I create a lot of like emotional intelligence kind of like content. So my clients can watch that and benefit from that too, because even though they don't think that they need emotional intelligence or that it would benefit them, I know it will. So I always like to like drop that into like my fitness stuff, is like the emotional intelligence stuff and the mindset stuff.
No, I love it. I'm not talking shit about mindset at all. Like, it's just that, like, it, Bree. Like, I know you intuitively know it. That telling someone they need mindset help is not helpful.
No, because I've been told that before, and it didn't help me.
It doesn't, right? Like it's just like, get your shit together. Okay, let me get my shit together.
Yeah, eat less.
No, Madison, I'll answer that question. So how do you stay creative and create content that vibes well with you? It's kind of like saying, how do you stay strong in every single one of your workouts? You don't. You really don't. No one fucking does it. Like, it's it really comes down to discipline. And the second thing it comes down to is creating so much that over time it just gets easier for you. Like in the beginning, like there's no formula to creating really good content. Like people look at Amanda Bucci's content and it looks great, but Homegirl has a professional photographer. She has made over 500 videos on YouTube. She's been doing this for 5-6 years. She's on a different platform, guys. Like she can do that because she has multiple 7-figure business running right now, and all she has to do is create content. That's all she does. Whereas you motherfuckers, a lot of you have a job at McDonald's, a lot of you had babies to take care of, and a lot of you are going to school at night, and you still want to look jacked, so you still go to the gym. You have barely 15 minutes to create content. So what you need is discipline. And what I mean by discipline is kind of I treat my content like meal prepping. If I don't meal prep on Sundays, my week will be not very good in terms of diet. But if I get it done, I'm good. So I do it. I just get it done. I don't even think. It's 2 hours allocated to meal prepping. Same thing with content. Batch your content, especially like the necessary pieces. There's always things on Facebook that I post that are just like right off the bat. Like they just came to me, I just post. But there's like, you got to be disciplined with it. And at the same time, guys, like look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. And the reason I say that, a lot of people are constantly posting content that produces 0 ROI. 0. And yeah, like play the long game and be fucking patient. I tell you that Gary Vee, if he wasn't a multimillionaire, he wouldn't be saying that shit. A lot of you want to make money. A lot of you can't even get the ball rolling. You can't get the ball rolling. You keep doing the same shit you've been doing for the year. That's insanity. Change up the content. Like take 2 weeks off from social media and dive deep and be like, what do I really need help with? Am I getting leads?
I love that.
Like, okay,
I love getting off of social media to get better at social media, if that makes sense. To show up better on social media.
Totally. And like that's becoming more and more popular now, and it's so good. I love it. But the point being is like if your content for the last 1 year hasn't produced much, then that means you need to figure out some things. And a lot of the time, like one of my biggest problems in the beginning was I was getting leads. I was too scared to follow up with them.
Yeah, I did that too.
Imagine that. What kind of fuckery is that? But it happens to a lot of people. Like, I would just forget about it. I would just forget to message that person. I would just forget to follow up with that person because my delivery wasn't that strong. So I was scared that if I brought them in, my product wasn't that great.
Yeah, I love the idea too that it doesn't take like money. What Grant Cardone says, I reference him so much because I really look up to him. But like, it doesn't take necessarily.
You're gonna piss off a lot of business coaches right now. But continue.
Yes. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes courage to make money because it takes courage to get on the phone and try to sell someone. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you're new to it. It takes courage to do that. It takes balls. It takes balls to go on social media and like be confident. It takes balls to like, you know, promote yourself and what you have to offer. So it definitely like takes a lot of courage. And like, I think you do have to go through that shitty phase just to go through it and like experience and stuff like that to like get the stripes and then be able to do a really good job. But I do love the idea of like getting off social media. For an example, when I was first like starting to get really popular this summer and starting to get like a lot of clients, like I was finally doing it full time, making like full-time money off of it. I was so proud. It was such a great time. But I knew I wanted to do more and get more clients, but I wanted to do it my way. And so although I really didn't want to, I went camping for a week. And even though I really, really didn't want to, I didn't want to get off my phone. I thought everything was going to fall apart. All my clients, I'm not going to get any leads. I'm not going to get any sales during that time. I couldn't go on my phone for a week. I was just in the woods, having fun, like just living my life, not thinking about social media. I came back to
hunting cows and shit in the woods, you know, just old school.
Yep. Yep. And I came back after we were done camping for a week. And that Sunday I came up with what was my biggest money maker of the year, which was my challenge. And that just like took off. And it was because I know I had that break and I had to be like, all right, how can I do this? Like, what do I want? And I had to take myself away from it to realize I am a person outside of social media and that I can have a life outside of social media. And that's where a lot of my creativity is going to come from. So I feel like that definitely is a big part.
I love it. All right, guys, we're over like 1 hour and 20 minutes right now.
Yeah.
I love this conversation. I'm going to go ahead and conclude it by saying that this was great. And I hope like those of you who watched it didn't get offended by a lot of the things I said, because let's be honest, if it offended you, you most likely needed to hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, leave feedback on the podcast app, on Stitcher, wherever you're listening to us, and then on YouTube for sure. Keep following us. We love giving you all this like non-BS because we have personally dealt with the BS, so you don't have to. And that's the whole mentality behind this podcast. Like, I'm gonna be honest, we're making $0 doing this, zero, and we're not doing it because the ROI is a lot and it's better use of my time. It's really not. But I love doing it because I feel like that one kid in Columbus, Ohio, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who's just getting started, if he needs to hear this, he or she needs to hear this information. So, because we were there, we were there at one point, and now that we have graduated from that level, we need to give back. And I just do this for those kids who are just getting started, or beginners who are lost, or intermediates who just see no results with all these fad diets. And, this is to educate you guys. So we really hope that you guys give us feedback, let us know of the ways to improve it, and how we can continue to be, one of the best podcasts on iTunes. So look forward to your feedback. Follow Bree on Instagram at Wuha. It's Bree. And Madison, what is it, Mastodon something?
At Mastodon_strong. Yeah, and Bree's was at Whoa, it's Bree Fit.
Bree Fit.
So everyone, make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the bell button to get notifications, to get updates when we launch the new episodes every Wednesday. Make sure you leave your comments and questions and what you guys want to see in future episodes. Let us know how you're liking it. If you hate us, let us know. Let us hear it all. Subscribe, tell your friends, and until next time, guys.
And you can always, all you got to do is go on Instagram and look up Daddy of Fat Loss. You'll find me. That title belongs to me. So with that, guys, thank you for listening. And till next time, peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.